got with you. Number 1 says the two-part system used to name organisms is called, well, two-part naming system would be binomial nomenclature. So binomial to name, nomenclature means naming system. Binomial nomenclature. What is our modern system of classification called? It's called the Linnaean system of classifying, named after Linnaeus, Carl Linnaeus, who started our first naming system. So Linnaean nomenclature, Linnaean system. Number 3 is list the 7 taxonomic categories of Linnaeus' classification system in the correct order from largest to smallest. Well, this is where we said we needed to sing kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So here we have kingdom is our largest. Phylum. Oops. Class. Order. Family. Genus. And species. And remember, we start out really, really broad. Every animal in the entire world goes under the animal kingdom. Okay. And then we get down smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to one specific species. Okay. So the closest you can be without being that same species, okay, really, really broad at kingdom, a few less at phylum, a few less at class. And so on, genus is the closest related two organisms can be without being in the same species. So genus would be the most closely related. And don't forget, we also have domain that we brought in later. All of our kingdoms fit within those 3 domains, the archaea and the bacteria, and then eukarya for all the others that are not bacteria. So kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Kingdom being the largest of those 7, species being down to one specific organism, genus being the most closely they can be related without being in that same species. Okay. Next it says use a classification system. A useful classification system does not do which one? Well, classification systems show relationships. They show that they're all animals, or that they're all primates, or that they're all vertebrates. So they do show the relationships. And they do show how things have developed over time. So the evolutionary trends. They do change taxons over time. Like before, the bacteria were all lumped into one, and so now we have the eubacteria and the archaeobacteria. So they can change over time. What they do not do is use different scientific names for the same organisms. Remember, the purpose of using scientific names was to allow scientists or anyone in general to talk about organisms and know specifically which organism you're talking about. So they do not change over and use different names. If you use different names, that makes it more confusing. So the whole purpose, remember, of using those scientific names is to be able to talk about a specific organism and everybody knows what you're talking about. So they're not going to use those different names. They're going to use that same scientific name. It's always the genus and the species, with the genus being capitalized. Okay, so remember that this does not, so they do not change the name. Okay, 3 domains of life. Well, we have the archaea, A-R-C-H-A-E-A, archaea, and then that has the kingdom archaeobacteria. And then we have domain bacteria. Domain bacteria, which has the kingdom eubacteria, or true bacteria, and that's where we think about the just the plain everyday bacteria, those lactobacillus and those streptococcus and those E. coli. And those archaeobacteria, those are going to be those extreme bacteria that live in places like deep ocean trenches and the Dead Sea and things like that. And then those are both prokaryotes. They have cells with no nucleus. They're prokaryotes. And they're the only known prokaryotes on Earth fit into one another of those bacteria categories. And then all the other things, all the eukaryotes in the world, right now they fit into domain eukarya. Domain eukarya. So we have 3 domains: archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. So which kingdoms contain only prokaryotes? Again, that would be our bacteria, so it's going to be our archaebacteria. And now eubacteria. And it says, be sure to study that Kingdom of Life chart that we filled out together in class. You also have that PowerPoint that you can look at. Number 7. Number 8 says, which of the following is a kingdom that does not contain microscopic organisms? Well, eubacteria, that's bacteria, they're microscopic. Protista has some single-celled organisms in it, so they're microscopic. Archaeobacteria, again, those are microscopic single-celled organisms. Animalia, all animals have multi-system, multi-organ makeup, so they have definitely more than one cell. So Animalia are not going to be microscopic, so that would be our correct answer right there. Animals. So they're all multi-system organisms. Animalia would be the correct answer. Number 9, a new organism is discovered. It is multicellular. Okay, so multicellular. It contains chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll, which is the green pigment that captures energy from the sun, so allowing plants and some other organisms to do photosynthesis. So if it is multicellular and contains chlorophyll, it is most likely going to be in Kingdom Plantae. It's most likely going to be a plant. There are a few other organisms that do photosynthesis, but they are generally not multicellular. So if it's multicellular and contains chlorophyll, it is going to belong in Kingdom Plantae. That's our plants. Plants are multicellular and plants have chlorophyll. Number 10. An organism is multicellular. Again, we're multicellular. Eukaryotic cells. So we know that it belongs in domain eukarya. It can move from one place to another. Okay, so it can move from one place to another. So it's probably not a plant. I don't know too many plants that get up and move around. Its cells do not have cell walls or chloroplasts, so no, definitely not a plant. So if it's multicellular, can move from place to place, this organism belongs to Kingdom Animalia. It's going to be an animal. Kingdom Animalia. Can move from place to place, multicellular, does not have cell walls or chloroplast. Okay, if it had cell walls and chloroplast, it would most likely be a plant, but you would not put moves from place to place. I don't know too many plants that move. Okay, so a mushroom belongs to the kingdom. He always gets invited to the party because he is a fun guy. Okay, mushroom, fungi. Kingdom fungi. So what mode of nutrition did they use? They're heterotrophic, and if you remember, hetero means different, trophic means feed. So if they're heterotrophic, they're feeding from a different source. They're not making their own food. So mushrooms do that by absorption. Okay, so they're heterotrophic through absorption. You'll see mushrooms sprouting on things like rotting logs. So they're able, as a log gets kind of mushy, they're able to absorb nutrients from that rotting log. So they are heterotrophic through absorption. Number 12. True or false? Fungi do not have chloroplasts and cannot carry out photosynthesis like plants. But yes, that is actually what separates them from the plant kingdom. So yes, that is true. They do not have chloroplasts and they cannot carry out photosynthesis. Again, they are heterotrophs through absorption. So that is true. 13. Organisms that are most closely related will be in the same genus. Again, kingdom starts out really broad, and then we narrow it down as we go down through there. So genus is the most closely related something can be without being the same thing. Okay, 14 says, be sure that you can read a dichotomous key. And we'll do just a couple of these for practice. Okay, so number 1. I'm going to look at A right here. It says needle leaves or non-needle leaves. Well, that is not a needle leaf. So non-needle leaves, we're going to go to 3. 3 says simple leaf or compound leaf. This is a simple leaf. A compound leaf will look something like this. So A would be a simple leaf. So if it's a simple leaf, we're going to go to 4. 4 says it has smooth edges or jagged edges. Well, this one appears to have smooth edges. So we're going to go to 5. Leaf edge is smooth. It is a magnolia leaf. Okay. So magnolia leaf. A would be magnolia. Okay. And let's see. I will do B with you as well, and then I'm going to leave the others for you to figure out. So B looks like this. Needle leaves or non-needle leaves, well, again, it's non-needle leaves. Needle would be like this one. So B would be non-needle leaves. So we're going to go to 3. Simple leaf or compound leaf. Well, this time it's a compound leaf. It's got all these little bitty leaflets on it, so it's a compound leaf. So we're going to go down to 7. 7 says leaflets attached at a single point or leaflets attached at multiple points. Well, leaflets are attached at multiple points on this one. So that would be a walnut leaf. So we put walnut for B. Okay. That would be a walnut leaf. And I'll let you try those others. I'll leave those for you to try. Remember, you always go back up and start with the very first question each time. Okay. Always start with that first question. 15. Scientific names are comprised of genus and species name. So we're going to fill in the following table. Rhinoceros unicornis. Okay, that's a rhinoceros. Its genus name would be the rhinoceros. Notice it is capitalized. And the scientific name is always written in italics. Genus is the first part and is capitalized. Oops. Yes, we want rhinoceros. Okay, rhinoceros, and then our species name is that second name, and it is not capitalized. It's always a lowercase when we're writing a scientific name. So unicornis. Rhinoceros unicornis. And then Homo sapiens, that's humans. Our genus is Homo. It's capitalized. Species sapiens, and it is lowercase. Homo sapiens. And then we have a few vocabulary terms down here to go over real quick. Unicellular, made of one cell. Unicellular, one cell. Multicellular, made of many cells. And prefix uni means one, prefix multi means many. Prokaryotic, pro means no. Okay, pro means no. Cells have no nucleus. Or other membrane-bound organelles. It has some, but not the big membrane-bound organelle, so it has no nucleus. U means true, so eukaryotic cells have a nucleus. U means true. It has a true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Heterotroph, we talked about this word a few minutes ago. Hetero is a prefix that means different. Troph means to feed. So they have to get their food. It gets food from another source.